Hello and welcome. Thank you for viewing this educational segment presented by Buying Behavior Metrics. I'm your host, Martin Smith, author of The New Exhibitor and The New Lean Six Sigma Orange Belt for Exhibitors. These and other exhibiting tools are available on our website at bbmgo.com. Please go to the site and make use of the tools. You will find them to be extremely valuable in implementing and improving your exhibiting and event purchase experience. Hello and welcome to the wonderful world of sales. My name is Martin Smith and I am the founder and president of Buying Behavior Metrics, or bbmgo as we so affectionately refer to it. Over the course of my career, I have worked for and with companies selling everything from apples to zeppelins. I spent the first 4 years of my career selling telephone systems and long-distance services back in the deregulation days. For the next 6 years, I moved on to selling commodities and investment strategies, and finally, for the past 2 decades plus, I've been selling measurement and analysis services. I have stood side by side in the trenches with other salespeople as we showed the benefits of vacation properties, computer systems and software, automobiles, CT scanners, printing presses, stethoscopes, injection presses, flooring, wallpaper, paint, gardening equipment, tractors, lawnmowers, toothbrushes and dental equipment, car wash equipment, and a host of many other things. I have been a teacher and a student with organizations ranging from mom and pop startup businesses at consumer shows to large mega corporations like GE, Xerox, and GM at trade shows and corporate events. I've also worked on the retail floors of big box stores like H.H. Gregg, Lowe's, and Sears, selling appliances, home theaters, bedding, and car stereos. How did I work in so many fields, you might ask? The answer is that for the past 2 decades plus, our company has been measuring purchase experience environments. We specialize in traffic measurement and timing studies by placing cameras in different venues and measuring how many people enter, where they go, what they touch, who they interact with, what they purchase, and how much time they spend doing these activities. As part of our services, we also categorize the behaviors of their customers, and we help train their sales forces to identify cues or buying signals which they can use to improve their sales techniques and drive higher sales more efficiently. In order to verify that the techniques we suggest work, I personally implement every suggested method firsthand by standing on the selling floor side by side with these employees and testing the process and mechanisms we recommend. The learnings our company has obtained over the past 2 decades have proven so effective that our customers average an 84% increase in bottom line sales revenue in their first year of working with us. In this 3-part series, I will share these learnings with you in an effort to give you the tools you need to understand your customers. It will also help you drive them through a fantastic purchase experience, culminating in sales to loyal advocates. In this first session, I'm going to discuss the sales process. With every sales force, I find it's best to build a foundation with the basics. This might be a refresher for some of you, but it's new material for others, so here goes. In every sales environment, there's a target audience or customers who are willing to become loyal advocates and buy companies' offerings. If you look in terms of statistics, there's a bell-shaped curve of people out there, with one end of the curve being people who are enthusiastic users and recommenders of the offering to everyone they come in contact with, and the other end of the curve being people who have no use for your product or service offering at all. Although the real-world buyers may not be so evenly distributed in your mind, for the sake of this example, we can assume normality. As a salesperson, there is a process which you must follow that allows potential customers to become aware of your offering. Perhaps you are advertising or going to trade or consumer shows, or maybe you are going door to door or cold calling. Whatever the mechanism you're using, the goal is to make people aware of your offering and its benefits. Hopefully, there will be some population of people who are early adopters who will go out and purchase your product or service offering right away. This reassurance allows you to widen your funnel by doing more activities designed to get prospective customers to consider using your offering as a means to get to a place and or become the person they aspire to be. As you allow prospects to touch the products in hands-on demonstrations, they begin to prefer using your offerings over their current solution provider. Finally, through relationship sales activity, you convert them into loyal advocates for you and your offering and move them into your sales bucket. I realize this is a simple example, but the fundamental principle holds that there is a process for selling, and trying to shortcut that process might lead to some sales at some point, but it won't create long-term relationship-oriented advocacy. If you don't create a long-term advocate through the purchase experience process, this initial buyer will become a terrorist against you, and your company and your business will fall like a house of cards. A recent survey showed that over 80% of business people who are under the age of 35 feel that face-to-face sales venues like trade shows and retail stores are vital. What's striking about this data point is that these are people who are extensively social networking via applications like Skype and Facebook and Twitter. These are people who text hundreds of times per day. These are people who play video games online with a headset on as part of a social environment. So why would such a large group of people who are so electronically connected feel so strongly about face-to-face venues? The answer is that they do not experience any high touchpoint interactions in these electronic activities. As much as we try to convince ourselves that the world is headed toward electronic commerce, the simple truth is that people buy from people they like. This explains why retail establishments, trade, corporate, and consumer shows are so important, and will become even more important in the future. The more you know about how, where, and when to create and utilize these venues to create high touchpoint interactions, the better prepared you are to develop relationships that will help customers achieve their goals. So what are these high touchpoint value streams? The first one is samples or gifts. Passing out samples has become commonplace in selling. Sometimes they are in the form of a gift or a premium or a tchotchke. It's important when giving out items to know what to give and when to give it, because not everyone is a gift or even a sample-oriented person. When someone gives a gift to a non-gift-oriented person, they will become suspicious of the intentions of the giver. They may even feel that the giver is trying to buy their business and or bribe them. This could be especially damaging to a salesperson whose reputation for doing business is not good, or in an industry like the medical industry that is extremely sensitive to kickback-type operations. It's also worth noting that in general, anything free is not highly valued, so giving gifts without causing customers to pay a price is a mistake. This price need not constitute a monetary exchange, but should at very least be an exchange for time, treasures, contact, or talent, and it should be done with some formal ceremony to prevent the gift or sample from feeling empty. If you diminish the ceremony, you diminish the emotional power of the gift or sample. The ceremony could be as simple as handing out the sample and asking for feedback, or just thanking them for their willingness to sample and consider using your product. Remember that samples and gifts are visible, tangible statements about the company's identity, so it's very important to understand the impact they will have on the target customer. Never give out gifts, tchotchkes, or samples of any kind unless they're branded and have contact information associated with them. Even if it's a consumable item, salespeople should be asking the customer what they think of it and where this item would fit in their product offering. Business cards and contact information should be exchanged, and at very worst case, a thumbs up or thumbs down survey should be taken of the offering. This might be logistically challenging, but the salespeople will differentiate themselves and qualify some good leads. The second touchpoint value item is engagements. Customers need to physically touch a product or service offering to feel safe moving along the sales process. This activity could be stroking, petting, kicking tires, or even just placing a hand on a product or display. Our research shows that a person who touches a product for 30 seconds or longer is 32% more likely to purchase that product. People will often perform characteristic behaviors like placing things in baskets or hiding them behind other items or standing in front of an item to prevent others from looking at it. Hands-on presentations and demonstrations are engagements that provide internal value streams such as education regarding what the product or service is and how it works. It can also provide the physical elements that are needed to help move the prospect along the process. Buyers gauge the quality and utility of an item, which is important when they're comparing product or service offerings. Salespeople must find a way to let customers engage with the product in a hands-on fashion. Next, interactions. This high touchpoint language centers on the premise that people buy from people they like, which means that they will ultimately buy more if they meet a salesperson face-to-face. The further along a prospect gets in the sales process, the more they need a friendly face to interact with. This high touchpoint mechanism is probably the most diverse and widest in scope. Interactions don't need to be complicated because customers highly value even simple things like scheduling appointment times with them or opening a door for them or telling them how to find something, even if it's a website that gains them more information. These types of activities happen best in face-to-face interactions. The last touchpoint value stream is affirmation. Affirmation techniques can be as simple as complimenting a customer or as direct as thanking them for their business. People need to be affirmed when they are in the conversion stage because they're often dealing with the decision process and the brain can be tricky. The closer your relationship is to them, the easier it is to overcome their objections, provide a resolution, and thereby affirm them of their decision. At some point in time, many of us have experienced a customer who browses for extensive periods of time. This is a person who is either already a customer or is very interested in becoming a customer, but they are also in need of affirmation. These customers can generate sales and also be great advocates if handled correctly. In summary, all buyers use these 4 mechanisms in the purchase process. They don't all use these in the same order and or with the same degree of intensity because they don't all buy or sell in precisely the same way. Since not everyone processes the purchase in exactly the same way, care must be taken to ensure that salespeople communicate in a form that fits optimally with the customer. If not, a salesperson can unknowingly misuse these languages with catastrophic results. I hope you found this session valuable in establishing a foundation for your sales approach. In our next session, we will look at the steps to selling. In conclusion, allow me to thank you for your time in reviewing this material and for your interest in buying behavior metrics. It is our sincere desire to provide valuable offerings to help exhibitors create worthwhile purchase experiences and ultimately maximize their ROI. Please go to our website and explore all the online tools available at bbmgo.com. Thank you.